Generational poverty is a curse. It's bondage. It's it's close to slavery. The only reason I was able to change that is because I did not want to continue that process. I refused.
Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, welcome to another edition of Without Notes. We are going to go on an extraordinary journey to discuss generational poverty with a man who was born in Uganda in the most desperate poverty imaginable, who the story is riveting, and how he pulled himself up from this generational poverty, now a successful veterinarian, very successful veterinarian and author in Colorado in America. How did this happen? Well, you're going to discover it soon on this edition of Without Notes. Patrick Kalenzi, welcome to Without Notes.
Thank you so much, Michael.
Patrick, let's start right at the beginning, friend.
All right, I'm ready.
I want you and I want to encourage you as you're speaking to an audience throughout the world to be as open, honest, and transparent, authentic, vulnerable as possible. So, where were you born, dear friend?
I was born in a very rural area in Uganda. That's East Africa in third world, the wretched of the earth that you see on TV. Yeah, that's where I was born.
Okay, now we're in America today, and Americans don't know much about Uganda
Right,
except that they know it to be a nation of almost indescribable poverty.
right,
Is that a fair assessment of how you were born into indescribable poverty?
right. Well, it's fair, but obviously, there are different types of poverty. In fact, Uganda has actually now in the 2000 has had middle class. But even
Okay, but
before
but when you were born in what year, friend?
1973,
In 1973, Uganda.
right?
Would it be fair to assess that environment as deep uh, poverty? Is that a fair remark?
That is fair with my
Okay,
situation.
okay. You were born and raised in Uganda. How many brothers and sisters did you have?
A total of 10.
10
10.
brothers, 10 in your family, nine brothers and sisters. What number were you?
I was the third.
Third,
Yeah.
third of a total of 10. Tremendous poverty.
Yes.
Now, try to describe to American audiences, worldwide audiences, what this type of poverty is like. What do you not have that Americans take for granted? Water, uh,
Yeah.
shower, cleaning, food. Talk about that. Describe it.
Yeah. Well, so Michael, thank you for asking me that question. To make it clear, let me use my story. At that time when I was born, I did not get a vaccine for polio because where they were vaccinating was quite a distance from my rural remote area. So I caught polio and almost died. I'm gonna
At
give you
what
an
age? What age, Patrick?
out 2 years old.
So at 2 years old, born into tremendous poverty, you did not get a polio vaccine, and therefore you
Acquired.
got polio and almost died.
Yes. Well, so about that, the other point that someone could get a clue of how poor that we were. When I was in a hospital, I was not thought that I was going to recover. So they contemplated taking the life support. And my father said, I think it's reasonable because if he dies, meaning me, here in the hospital, we cannot afford a car to take him separately because you don't put a dead body in a communal taxi back to your rural area. So he said, why don't we take him while he is not completely dead so we could use a communal taxi and get him ready to die at home. My mother resisted, but that's about medical care and vaccine. But there's another thing. Even when I survived that, we talk about poverty as grass thatched houses.
Grass thatched housing.
Yes,
Try to describe that to the viewers.
the viewers. I'm talking about 600 to 700 square foot round circular mud walls, a, a, a flimsy door, wooden door, or sometimes, tin or aluminum door. And the roof is made of branches of trees and grass, thatched roof. And then the inside of it is a little living room, and then your mother and father's bedroom, and the other bedroom for the rest of you.
600 feet for 10 people, 12 people.
Yes, yes,
12 people living in 600 feet.
yes, sir.
No heat, no air conditioning.
None of that's a luxury. Even up to now, my mother doesn't have that, and she's living comfortable.
All right, continue on. Now you recover from polio.
I recover from polio, and then I grow up to the age where now, as a young boy, 6 years old, you go and tend to cuddle. The girls stay inside the house and around the house and take care of the house. Well, then I started going to school, and we would walk 2 hours to school through the jungle. We're talking about no houses, nothing, and then 2 hours back from school because that's the closest you
So
could
a
get to.
total of 4 hours per day of walking.
Yes.
At what age, Patrick?
That was starting from 6 to 7 years old.
So at 6 or 7 years old, you're walking 4 hours a day to get to school. Is that
Yes,
correct?
that's correct.
You have 2 meals a day, breakfast and dinner,
Yes.
no lunch. Okay.
No.
Okay. So continue, sir.
So through that, you have when you go to school, there's the headmaster and then another teacher or two for about 4 levels or grades. And the school itself is made of mud walls, a grass thatched roof, and some kind of blackboard in each of the classes with wooden benches for the students.
So no
So
chairs, you sit on bench.
benches, but that was an upgrade, Michael. But in my first class, first grade or kindergarten, which was mixed up, I sat under a tree with parakeets above me. Every once in a while, they would, drop something. That was my first class. The
Right.
school I'm talking about, the building is after under the tree arrangement of a class.
Okay. So this is extreme poverty. You going to school, continue with your story, friend.
So I go to that school, and there's another component besides poverty that my story and my situation was different. We were, we talk about Uganda, but my grandfather ran away from Rwanda, which most of the viewers for this podcast, they can relate and understand what Rwanda means if they think about Hotel Rwanda and they think about the 1994 genocide in a small country of Rwanda. That's where my grandfather came from. The genocide that everybody knows about was 1994. There's one that most people didn't know in 1958, because there was no cable news and talk about it. That's when my grandfather ran away from the conflict between one tribe called the Hutus trying to massacre and eliminate another tribe, my tribe, the Tutsis, with the help of colonial masters. And he ran away and went to Uganda and had my father in Uganda. Then I was born in Uganda. But coming back to the Ugandan school, Michael, the reason I bring that up is because when I was in that school, I was bullied regardless of whether my father was born in the camp in Uganda, regardless of that I was born in Uganda. I was treated as a refugee, an outcast, unwanted, with belittling, derogatory names in the country that I was born and where my father was born. That was the other component of poverty and bullying and
Yeah.
handling all that. Yeah,
By the way, Patrick, for American audiences, for international audiences, for contemporary audiences, what you're describing is not poverty. It's extreme poverty. So now I want to talk about your high school life and
right.
how you progress. Go ahead. Are you a good student?
By the grace of God, yes, I was a good student. I
Okay.
was a good student, but that's not what kept me in school.
Okay.
There was, in our tradition, when you grow up, regardless how much school or good you are, my father wanted me to finish ninth grade and come back and tend to cattle because that's our cultural trade or job.
So after ninth grade, you come back and help with the family?
My father wanted me to
Yeah.
come back. My teacher, mentor, Mr. Ruben, in my little starting school, he encouraged my father and made sure that he was not going to do that or bring me out of school because he thought I had potential to do bigger things and better things. So he
Okay.
motivated my father, literally nudged him because they were also friends, and
Yeah.
said, "You should not get Patrick out to be a cattle herder." And when I say
A cattle
yes,
herder.
yes,
Mhm.
when I say that, it does not mean we had the hard. No, we were working, taking care of other people's hard.
Okay.
That my
Okay.
grandfather did, my father did, and
Yeah, I
that's what I was meant to
understand.
do. Yeah.
Okay. So you're the teacher communicated with your father. Then what happens?
Nudges him to let me stay in school. So I go to uh 12th grade, 10th grade and 12th grade. And then the other grades before the university, my father ran out of funds. And I figured out that it's going to be difficult, but again, I found a way to pay for my school by doing potato trade. As a young
What is that called?
potato, it's really here, they call them Irish potatoes.
Irish potatoes. Grow potatoes. So you
Yes.
grew potatoes to pay for your school.
No, I went to trade potatoes where we used to
Okay.
live. Yeah, they were not there. So I went to
Okay.
trade potatoes and would make a little profit, saved
Got it.
up, paid for one school, and then paid for another. And I used to, there's another thing that I used to do on the side before that. I used to cut five. It's like it's charcoal. But back home, you cut big branches of trees, put them under the ground and burn them, and then you make coal. What would be like coal, but it's charcoal. So that
Yeah.
also was another source of income for me.
Okay. So now you graduate what I guess would be equivalent to high school.
I graduate high school in a school that I can only afford, which was the
Right.
cheapest school
Yeah,
in the
I
city,
understand. Okay.
which has rogues and crazy, students.
Right.
And then a few of us out of 6,000 students qualified to go to the university, but I worked hard, not because I was smarter or smart. I read in the night after school. I lived with my uncle in the city, but what I used to do, because we shared the room, it was small, with nine boys. I'm sorry, seven boys and two girls.
Any
So,
electricity?
no, sir. He used a kerosene lamp for light, but since we shared the room with him and all the kids, I was respectful to not turn on the light to study when my uncle, who was kind enough to let me study in the city, was sleeping.
Yeah.
So what I did, I went and bought a little flashlight. So I'd be under my covers, get my pages, and turn on that flashlight and study.
Mhm.
And that's how I was able to get enough grades, thankful to get on the government scholarship, because if I had not got the government scholarship, there was no way in the world any of my relatives, both mixed maternal and paternal, would have afforded the university fees.
Okay, so you went to college in Uganda,
Yes, on a government scholarship.
okay, on a government scholarship, and you graduate college.
I graduate college, so the veterinary medication medicine is a 5-year course in Uganda and
You
Australia.
become a veterinarian in Uganda. Now, I want to understand something, Patrick. Here in America, most people, many middle class or above people, even lower middle class people, go to college. It's very rare in Uganda, I imagine. Is that correct?
It is. It's a very small percentage.
Okay, so you become a veterinarian in Uganda.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And then I get out and there's no work. So I started just creating work. I went back to my university where professors and lecturers who used to do part-time farm work or treat dogs and cats, and I said, hey, listen, if there's any job that is not comfortable for you, any distance you don't want to drive to treat that animal, call me. I'll go do it. That allowed me to buy to earn some money, pay for my rent in the city, pay for my siblings' food and my mother's food and medicine because my father had died just 3 months before I graduated, so they had no support. And they had been evicted out of land, so I was paying rent for them. But that
How old were
small,
you when your father died?
I was 20 years old,
And how old was your father when he died?
52 years old.
Now, when in Uganda, is it common for men and women to die in their 50s?
No, sir, just my dad who
Okay.
had a little alcohol problem.
Okay, so he died, and you are at 20 now trying to help your family. Okay, when do you leave Uganda?
Well, in 2000, I left Uganda because all that hard work was barely paying for food and rent for my family who had been evicted out of land and they were almost homeless. But then came my large families come with their own burdens. So my sisters now had children, and those were my nieces and nephews, so they needed to be in school. So Ugandan income wasn't enough. So I figured, my gosh, what am I going to do? And then I also was starting to, have needs. So I figured I'm gonna try a place that pays better for veterinary medicine. So I thought, well, Germany, Australia, Japan, America. Then I said, if I'm gonna hustle and try hard for something like this, I'm gonna start with the best place that could provide better veterinary medicine for their own pets, and I'll get paid better. So I said, if I'm gonna try, I'm gonna start from the top ranking place, country, and that was the United States. It is such a
So you
minute,
have a goal at age 20 to leave Uganda and go to the United States.
that's 23 now because I'd spent a couple
You're
years.
23 years old. You're
Yeah.
living in Uganda. You're a veterinarian.
Yeah.
You have no money to speak of, and you want
No.
to go to the United States,
Yes.
and you want to go legally as
Yes, of
a
course.
okay. So
Yeah.
don't say of course. In America, that's not so common. But you go through all the difficulties, and when do you arrive in America?
Right. The 2000, uh, the year 2000. And Michael, let me qualify that. For most audiences, sometimes they may not know. And I'm not trying to disrespect the understanding. You cannot walk, swim, or jump over a wall from Uganda to here. You take a plane. That plane goes through Europe. You have to provide visa to European countries to verify that you have legal permit to travel to the United States. And then United States in Minnesota or any customs, You have to have proof that you are coming here. So most Ugandans come here legally. Anyway, so I got here 2000 and
You
my first
arrive in
place,
what city? What city, Patrick?
Chicago. But that was my trip,
Chicago, Illinois. You arrive
Illinois,
in Chicago. Are you alone?
alone with $150 in my pocket.
So you arrive in Chicago. You have $150. Do you speak English?
Yes, we learn English from the first time we go to school.
Okay. So you speak English. You arrive in Chicago. Where do you stay the first night in Chicago?
I didn't stay. That was my first transit town that I was supposed to board another plane to Kentucky. That was my destination. Well, the reason I bring up Chicago is my ticket, out of ignorance about travel, my itinerary was supposed to be through Chicago to your final destination, my final destination, Kentucky. My
What did you
travel,
want to go to Kentucky?
it was the only place I got a very wonderful, kind family to host me for when I was going to do my internship for a short time.
Okay.
Only family in the whole United States. And I
It
owe them
was
so
in
much.
Kentucky.
Kentucky.
Were they a Caucasian family?
It was Caucasian family, and the reason I knew them, their wonderful daughter, who is a veterinarian right now, fully fledged, amazing vet, was in Uganda for a rotation in wildlife with a
Mhm,
group from Tufts University.
mhm.
And we got to talk. And when they returned back here, I said, guess what? I'm trying to get a visa to the United States, but they want me to have a family that could host me for a little bit. Is that something you can think about? She wasn't even in Kentucky. She was at the university in Tufts University, Boston, Massachusetts. She said, well, let me see what my dad and mom could do. Just like that, Mr. Joe Hammond and Frances Hammond, her parents, uh, said, absolutely.
How do you make it? Yeah, you're in America. You have $150 to your name. The family is sponsoring you for how long?
Well, I stayed with them for, I want to say, I remember about 2 weeks to a month. And then I moved
All right.
in Kentucky. Then I moved to another family in Kentucky for internship for about a week. And then I came to Colorado because another friend had been here. So I got here with now $0. The
You
first
come
night,
to now you're in Colorado with
$0.
another family. You have no money.
No, it
Okay.
was not a family, a Ugandan friend who was here. He's a doctor now. He was in the same college as I was.
Right.
And the first night off of the Greyhound bus, he said, guess what I'm doing? I'm delivering newspapers. Then I said, well, let me put my luggage down and I'll just hop in the car with you and see what you're doing. Well, we delivered newspapers the first night. Then I got my own route. I think I couldn't drive, but he would get more papers, drop me off at a neighborhood. Then I would deliver newspapers. And guess what? That paid my rent and my food. Then I picked
So
up house.
you became, though you were a licensed veterinarian, you were delivering newspapers in Colorado at age 24, 25 years old.
Now I'm at 26, yes.
How long did you deliver newspapers for?
Uh, about a year.
And what hour of the day? Was that at night or in the morning or
That was at night. So I would start the paper route at 1 and then finish at 6, go home.
1 a.m. in the morning till 6 a.m. in the morning?
Right.
Okay. So
Then I'll go.
now you start to have enough money to pay your rent, and then what happens in your story?
What happens is that was enough money to pay my rent and food, but then I needed money to send back home for the family I left home. So during the day, I picked up a job at a pet store where we were selling crickets and rats for snakes, which was very weird for me as a Ugandan guy coming here. So that gave me extra income, but I'll do that during the day. So generally during the day, I actually slept only 4 hours and then I picked up another job, which cleaning the houses on the weekend. And so those are three jobs. I was doing
Yeah.
really well. So
Okay.
then I tried to sign up for my national board
Yep.
exams to try and get back in my career.
To become a veterinarian here in America.
Yes, I never gave up the thought. Well, so I did.
But you're living in America. You think of this as luxury compared to Uganda. You have light switches, you have heat. It's
I
this is like you're in a palace, right?
I didn't. I almost thought I did not have to pursue the veterinary medicine because I was making quite a good amount of money. What I was making was 20 times more in Uganda as a paper delivery boy.
But
And
also your quality of life. You have
yes,
a light switch. You can turn lights on. You have you have heat. You have air conditioning. It's a total. So you think of America as paradise when you first come.
it's easy work and
Easy work.
easy
Okay.
work.
Okay. Now, how do you? Okay. Now, I want to talk. You are now a very prominent veterinarian. You live in Colorado. You have a
Yes,
family. You have a wife. You have kids. You're living the American dream. You're very successful. You own a home. You own cars. You have become a great success.
thank
But
you.
yet, you want to talk about this book you wrote,
Right,
Tears Run Dry, and you want to talk about generational poverty.
right.
This is a topic that's very important to you. So I want to talk to you about generational poverty.
Yes,
Tell me from your point of view, what is it that American audiences, international audiences need to understand about generational poverty and maybe the solutions to it, education, and so forth? What is it? Because most people don't understand the life that you came from.
right. Thank you, Michael. That is my life now. As you mentioned, I am so eager and so enthusiastic to try and tell people what I should have known when I was young, but I didn't know. Generational poverty is a curse. It's bondage. It's it's close to slavery, and I don't mean to be too political, but it is something that without the switch of the brain and the thinking, my grandfather was a cattle keeper for other people. My father was, and here we were, father saying I should do the same. The only reason I was able to change that is because I did not want to continue that process. I refused.
You broke the chain of generational poverty. You broke it. Is it fair to say, Patrick, that you broke it through education?
Yes. So,
So the key to breaking generational poverty is indeed education.
yes, if you do not know any other thought process or skills, education is the key. The formal education for young people, education for adults like us, if you didn't even have anything, there is ways to educate yourself without going to class.
How do
Knowledge
you
is
educate?
power.
Hold on, Patrick. How do you educate yourself? This is an important point. It's called self-education. How
Yes,
does one educate themselves without going to school? Go ahead.
thank you. For instance, I started working with you because I wanted to learn, learn so much from your wisdom. That's education. I've read books. I was a biology, chemistry, physics major, but I wrote a book which is literature. I had to read books, read how to write books. You
So the
learn,
key, so then the key to self-education, Patrick, is both reading and mentorship.
yes, yes.
Okay.
I have
Did
learned so much from you, Michael. I have learned so much from support material, written, audio, video. And then I've learned so many skills. I did not learn, we do not learn business in veterinary medicine. In fact, scientists are the worst business, people. But guess I have two businesses, actually three, and they are doing well, not because of what I learned in school, but what I learned as an adult. And that's the education I'm talking about.
okay. So now self-education. education and self-education is a key to breaking generational poverty.
Yes.
Tell us more of what you learned, Patrick,
Yes.
about breaking the chain of poverty.
Thank you. That education is one. The second is learn how to adapt and fit into your new environment. For instance, when I moved here, I learned how to change my pronunciation of some words. For instance, I would go and say, I'm looking for a job. And most people at the reception desk would say, what are you talking about? What? I say, a job. Then within a few moments, I would figure out that they say job. Well, so I'm like, all right, that's what we're gonna call it. So I started changing how I pronounce
So
some
you
words.
have to, yes, you have to learn your culture. You have to learn. If I were to go with you to Uganda, you would teach me how the culture in Uganda is.
Yes.
If you come to America, what's the old saying, Patrick? When in Rome, do what Romans do.
Romans
That is
do. Absolutely,
right.
100%. Now, here's
Mhm.
the thing, Michael, I have my strong beliefs in some components of my tradition that I love and respect. But there's so much I've learned how to adjust and get what would you call it? Get into the society because that's how you build the community that you are in. That's how you build network. That's how you find clients. That's how you make friends. That's how you make a living. Your friends become your
Patrick, are
clients.
you an American citizen today?
Yes, I have been for a while.
So you came here, you became an American citizen. I imagine, I don't want to speak for you. Do you love your country, America?
I love America. It's the only place in the world that when I moved here, I can call myself American. If I moved to Germany, I could not say I'm German. I would say I'm a citizen, but I couldn't say, call myself a German. Only in America I could do what I did in terms of business, in terms of success, in terms of claiming without doubt or competition that I am American. I don't care who thinks I'm not because I couldn't say that in Turkey. I can't go to
You are
Turkey.
an American. You're an American citizen. Your kids are American citizens. You vote in American elections. You love America.
Yes,
Now, I have a very odd question for you, Patrick.
of course, my brother.
Very unusual question. All right?
Yes.
Let's try it together.
Okay.
I want you to pretend that tomorrow America is playing a soccer game
Right.
against Uganda.
Right.
Okay? So it's America versus Uganda tomorrow.
I'm
Soccer.
supporting Uganda.
Okay, that's what I want to know.
Yes,
Who
I'm
are you
supporting
rooting
Uganda.
for?
Uganda, by all means.
Now,
Don't,
this is so fascinating to me and I imagine to our audience, but I want to challenge you, friend.
yeah.
Say without hesitation, I am rooting for Uganda.
Yes.
Okay. Now, my brother, here is my question. Why? You love America. You're an
Yes.
American citizen. America saved your life. Your children were born in America.
Yes.
America was good to you.
Yes.
You struggled in Uganda. Why?
Thank you.
Why would you vote root
Yes.
for Uganda in a soccer match, dear brother?
Very good question. I have a very short, clear answer.
Okay.
There are five generation Jewish Americans here in
Yes.
America.
Yes.
They support, fund, and give all their love and support for Israel. Period.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the answer then becomes though you love America, though you are grateful to America, your heart is where your home was.
Just like most Jewish people who are five generations Americans, their love and support openly behind the scenes is Israel. It is your blood.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I'm not sure, Patrick, I fully accept the analogy because there are many American Jews who, A, are opposed to Israel policies, who I think there are many Americans, frankly, who, if America was playing a soccer game against Israel, would vote for America, but not all. And it's an
yeah,
interesting point.
yeah.
Patrick, we have to end this fascinating broadcast.
Just real quick, soccer is different from uh, uh, the other support we're talking about. That's
Say
a
it
game.
again, brother. Say it, my friend.
Just real quick, the support for Jewish people for Israel, even though some
Yeah.
of them don't support it, we're
Yeah.
comparing soccer to political and survival support. It's
Soccer.
the
Okay,
difference. Yeah,
soccer.
thank you.
Yes, of
Yeah.
course. Of course. I'm trying to use an emotional analogy. It's very interesting.
Yes, thank
Okay,
you.
so now, Patrick, you have written this book, Tears Run Dry.
Yeah,
It is a book about your journey, your incredible, unbelievable journey.
thank you.
What do you have to share with the audience? What is it that they need to understand better about you, your journey,
Right.
uh, your work ethic, your incredible will to live, to survive, to succeed?
Thank you, Michael. What I want them to know is that while I worked hard, while I survived, I didn't do it on my own. My mother, first of all, saved me from the hospital when they were going to turn off life support. So we all have these silent angels. My motivation came from both my grandfather's wisdom, man who never went to school, telling me the truths about life. The second thing is the book will show anyone who is bullied, underestimated, low self-esteem, or stuck somewhere, that if I was able to pull myself through that, anyone can do it. And I want them to be inspired so that they don't count them out. I don't care if you are 10 years old, because my niece, who is 11, read the book and she's changed, or if you are 90 and still breathe and think and talk, you cannot count yourself out. Whether this is about business, exercise, nutrition, there's never too late to do something
Okay.
if I did it.
Patrick, I want to ask you a final question.
I think,
You're living in modern America today.
yes,
You're seeing a society, you're seeing your country go through a very difficult time,
right.
right? You're seeing uh, young people today who do not have the work ethic.
Right.
You know this.
Yes.
You understand. They think they're entitled. They think they do not have the work ethic. They play on the phone. You understand it.
Yes, sir.
Much. What concerns you about America today, and what do you have to offer Americans by way of lesson or concern? You're a man who came here. What do you have to share? What are you concerned about? What do you see? What troubles you? And what do you suggest be thought about differently?
Right. My concern for our future as Americans is the same concern I have for my own children. They were born in Boulder County, Colorado, middle class and better. I am worried that they don't have the threat of survival, that they have to work through their lunch break, that they don't have to have vacation if you haven't earned it or don't have to take it.
So
That
you're actually concerned for your children that they do
yes,
not have enough adversity
no.
so that, oh, this is fascinating.
My own blood, I'm concerned about it. which if we talk about the generations coming, that is my children, and
Yes.
because America was built by a generation of hardcore, hardworking, daring immigrants. And then when we moved on and we had people who worked hard to improve that over generations, my concern is that we're too comfortable, don't have a
Yes.
diversity, and a few years from now, who is going to work for who or have to produce? That's the
Yes.
question I want to
This
leave with
is
the
a
audience.
concern, Patrick. I want to be open with you. I have a similar concern as you. Now, we come from different backgrounds, obviously. I was born in America, you're in Uganda, but we have a similar concern. The work ethic,
Yes.
the grit, the determination, the strength,
Yeah.
the deep, deep uh, desire to make to earn a better life seems to have largely, if not entirely, been taken away. And this is a cancer on a society. Is that fair, Patrick?
Absolutely, 100% good observation. And hopefully, with your permission, earlier on, you and I were just having a conversation. Then I said, Michael, how'd you do it with maybe for people who haven't watched your previous podcasts? You are open about it. So there's nothing private. That you came from not a good family with some, alcohol in the family. But then I said, well, how did you do it in New York? You said, Patrick, with your nice demeanor, you said, I figured out how to work when most Americans did not want to work.
Yes,
Weekends.
exactly. We do. Right. Now, Patrick, one last thing, and then we're going to
Yeah,
say goodbye.
yeah,
The importance that both of us feel in mentors. You know, Patrick, you've heard me say this. I know it. I
yeah,
am not very bright, but I am above average at watching what bright people do.
yes.
And that's been important. But I'm even better, I believe, Patrick, at watching what dopey people do. And that's been even more important. It sounds like you have also had mentors. How important have mentors been in your life to gaining the great life that you have achieved for you and your family?
Extremely important to the point, even as successful as I have, I rely on mentors.
Yes.
We've talked about I know what I know, and I'm
Yep.
smart enough to know what I'm not good at, and I go
Yes.
to mentors. That's
Yes.
the
Yes.
huge benefit.
Patrick, this has been a great gift. You have met the challenge of being vulnerable, transparent, authentic. You are a great American success story.
Thank you.
You are a great human success story. And
Thanks.
I thank you for sharing your valuable story with our vast, without notes, international audience that'll be seen all over the world. So I thank you, Patrick.
The pleasure is mine. I'm honored.
Friends, we've been doing this Without Notes broadcast now for 11 years, and I can't think of a more riveting episode than the one we've just seen. Patrick Kalenzi, Tears Run Dry, a story that is almost hard to believe, and yet it's all true. Friends, if you enjoyed this broadcast, I invite you to support us with simple tasks. Like the episode, share the episode, comment on the episode, and of course, subscribe. These are ways not only of supporting this particular episode, but of supporting the concept of these real conversations in a world lost to noise and distraction. These are real human conversations that I think are vital for our both our existence and our own self journey. We'll look forward to seeing you on the next edition of Without Notes.